So LeBron James is a Los Angeles Laker, and with that, the expectations of this team skyrocket. Before, it would have been okay if they had just made the postseason or just made it exciting towards the end, whereas now, if they don't make it, that's going to be a disappointment. And while this team is pretty good, I would say, definitely not a title contender at this moment, but it's going to be our job in this video to rebuild them and get them to that level. Outside of LeBron James, I think the team is pretty intriguing. I like Brandon Ingram a lot, has some size, has a lot of abilities. You've got Kyle Kuzma, who is way more NBA ready than a normal rookie is. I think he's one of the better shooters in the NBA. You've got Lonzo Ball, who I think some people hate, and they look past the fact that he's a hell of a playmaker, rebounder, and defensive player for a point guard. And you've also got Josh Hart, who did not get too many opportunities in his rookie season, but I think he showed in Summer League that he is a guy who is worthy of a lot of minutes, and he's definitely going to be playing that as I control this team. And then we've got some veterans who are on one-year contracts. I don't plan to really bring any of these guys back, but they can help us out for one season. Those guys being Rajon Rondo, Lance Stevenson, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. The reason why we're not going to bring them back is because we're trying to have as much salary cap room as possible, because after this season, I got my eyes on Kawhi Leonard. Of course, the rumors in real life are rampant that he will end up with the Lakers in one season. 2K, not as much of a guarantee. I mean, it's not a guarantee in real life either, but I wouldn't put it past 2K to have him re-sign with the Raptors for 5 years. But even so, there are other guys who are hitting free agency. There's Jimmy Butler. His T-Wolves are, towards, I would say, the bottom of the Western Conference playoffs with potential to get up there. But if he's all about playing for a winner, then I could see him leaving them and we could scoop him up. You also have to look at DeMarcus Cousins. I think it's safe to say he's not going to be on the Warriors after this season in real life. 2K is a different situation, but if he's a free agent, I'm definitely going to throw a max offer at him. And hell, we can at least entertain the idea of Kevin Durant leaving Golden State. And, I mean, if we could pair up the two best players in the NBA and put them in the Lakers purple and gold, then that would be awesome. But we still have a season to play before all that. So let's see how LeBron and the boys do for his first year as a Los Angeles Laker. Well, if we play the simulation game, you'll see early on that the start is maybe not as good as everybody would have wanted it to be. This team is just kind of middling, and after 1 month, they're actually a few games under 500 at 9-13. So we have to dive into why that is. Well, LeBron is playing great. He's doing what we expect of him. And if we look at the shooting, I mean, Josh Hart's killing it. Lonzo under him is actually making his outside jumper, which is crazy. And it shows because we're the 8th best offensive team in the NBA so far. So it seems that we are able to generate enough offense. It makes sense. I mean, as long as LeBron has some decent players around him, you can expect yourself to still put up a solid amount of points. And that's without there being a second big-time scorer on this team. Now, as far as Lonzo's three-pointers going in long-term, I don't know about that. So I wouldn't be surprised if those dip down a little bit. But even so, outside of LeBron, it seems like the rest of this team is able to get the ball in the rim enough. The problem is on defense. We're the 15th best team in the league. We're dead in the middle. Which, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's definitely not as good as we would like it to be. And I think the big reason is because we're just giving up way too many three-pointers. We are the 3rd worst team in the league in terms of opponent three-point percentage. So we've just got to do a better job of defending along the perimeter, which I think we will, because given how many strong defenders we have with LeBron and Lonzo and Ingram and Josh Hart and KCP, I think that's going to go down. But even so, I think we could adjust it a little bit. I also think we could get Brandon Ingram going a little bit more just in general, so he's going to be the second option behind LeBron. And then as far as defensive adjustments, limit perimeter shots, play physical defense, and use our length to defend the three-point line. I also want to look at our center position. I don't think it's really that great. JaVale is okay. Zubats, I mean, also I would say just okay. I started looking around the league, and I found the legend himself, Ekpe Udoh, backup center for the Utah Jazz, who is way better defensively than both of those guys are. And your first trade of this rebuild is us acquiring a dude that the casual NBA fan has definitely never heard of. It's a pretty easy trade because Michael Beasley's on a one-year deal and the second-round picks, those are fine. So it does not impact our future salary stuff. It gets Zubats out of the rotation because the difference between him and Ekpe Udoh is, well, it's night and day. You can argue that 2K kind of messed up Zubats a little bit. But anyway, we have a new starting five. I'm not expecting Udoh to light the world on fire. I'm expecting him to help us out just a little defensively, keep some guys out of the paint, grab a couple rebounds here and there. You combine that with the urgency to stop three-pointers, and perhaps it can make a difference defensively for us. It doesn't do too much. This team is unable to get a winning streak going. It's win-loss, and actually a few losses in a row towards the end there. Our offense has fallen off of a cliff, while our defense is actually elevated. We're now the sixth best defensive team in the league, so we've basically just swapped what we did the first month of the season. So why is it that we are unable to generate points? Well, part of it could be that we do have a few non-shooters around LeBron. I mean, I'm going to guess that Lonzo was not able to make three-pointers consistently. Perhaps the flow of the offense is not totally there, but we can still make some sort of a change, even if it's not going to be too drastic. KCP, I don't think he's doing much. 7 points a game on some pretty bad shooting if you look all the way to the right there at 39%, whereas Josh Hart is shooting beautifully at 44% from outside. So we're going to make a swap. Josh Hart is now going to be the starting two guard of the Lakers. Probably should have had him starting from day one. I think he's already a better player than KCP. He's going to be putting up about 28 minutes a game, and Kentavious is all the way down to 14. Perhaps that could help out the offense a little bit, but I also want to make another trade. Wayne Ellington of the Miami Heat has been one of the best shooters in the NBA for the last 2 seasons. Contested shots, the occasional pull-up shot. He fits in so well in Eric Spoelstra's system where there's off-ball movement, and I would like to think that Luke Walton has a similar vibe to his offensive system. And like Ekpe Udoh, Wayne is on a one-year deal, so it's not going to mess up our free agency aspirations. They agree to the move, and now we've got ourselves a new shooter. So perhaps dipping down KCP a little bit, playing Josh Hart more, getting Wayne Ellington shooting, which, by the way, we had to trade Lance Stevenson, which is fine, because I'd rather have Wayne's spacing than Lance Stevenson and whatever he was doing. Perhaps this new rotation can just make us a better team, because we're kind of desperate at the moment. Well, you'll see that after a lot of up and down, out of nowhere, it just seems to kind of click, where suddenly the team goes on a winning streak, and then before you know it, we're actually a game over 500, and then you go past the All-Star break, and I guess at a certain point, once the train starts moving, you just can't stop it. 3 games over 500. It seems that Wayne Ellington has been making nearly every shot that he's taken for us. And offensively, still not that good, but in the last 30 days, we are top 10. And then in the last 30 days defensively, we're by far and away the best team in the NBA. So I think some of that could also be due to Josh Hart, who's a quality defensive player. Ekpe Udoh in there over JaVale McGee and Zubats, taking Zubats out of the lineup completely. And then besides that, probably just general team chemistry stuff. I mean, when you have the best player in the league take over, it might take the team a minute to adjust and all that. That doesn't totally apply because it's a video game, but I'm going to go with it anyway. So, in the last month, we are one of the best teams in the NBA, so now it's a matter of, can we just keep on rolling until the postseason? And the answer to that was pretty much yes, to the point where it actually got kind of scary how many games we were winning in a row. I mean, a completely different team from the first 2 months of the season than towards the end, even if we finally started to look a little more human at the very end of the season, but 47 wins after starting off so slow, I would say that's an accomplishment. Round 1 against the Denver Nuggets, as the playoffs are back in Los Angeles, which is a great thing. However, what's not great is that the Nuggets have acquired Blake Griffin somehow. I guess they're comfortable with taking on that massive contract, as Blake is now on his third team in a couple seasons. The combination of him and Nikola Jokic, that sounds like a big man rotation that's kind of difficult to defend. We'll have to see how we can fare with that. We're just going to simulate the round. We're not going to do game by game. So we'll see what happens. Game 1 goes to Denver. Game 2, this is not looking good, and, well, that was awkward. Just a flat-out sweep. So what happened? Well, it seems for one that Isaiah Thomas went nuts. A bit of a revenge game for him, as we were unable to stop him. That surprises me with so many perimeter defenders, but sometimes a dude who's 5'8", who can get to the rim at will, is kind of difficult to deal with. And then for us, the problem was no one made any shots besides LeBron. I mean, Kuzma 2 for 14, Ingram 1 for 14, Josh Hart 1 for 12 all the way down there. What that says to me is that we really need a big-time scorer next to LeBron James who can take the pressure off him a little bit. As we look towards the NBA Finals, the Raptors actually pushed the Warriors to a Game 7. Boogie, with Finals MVP of all people, on to free agency. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, all declining their player options. I'm going to renounce every single one-year guy that we have to give ourselves as much cap space as possible. And I'm throwing a max offer at every single one of these guys because I figure even if we can't get Kevin Durant, I mean, hey, Kyrie, you want to play with LeBron again? That would be great. Jimmy Butler transformed the T-Wolves. He can only help us out. And what ends up happening? Well, Kyrie goes to the Hawks, of all teams, and then JB and KD sign back with their teams. Kyrie, what? Like, I know Kyrie's a weirdo who thinks the earth is flat and everything, but the Hawks? That's just like, I mean, that's just 2K at its best right there. So we miss out on Kyrie. However, Klay Thompson's still sitting there, and the best thing about this is if we can butcher the Warriors and make ourselves better, then that's awesome. We're going to try the same exact thing with DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, we need another dude who can score. Boogie can definitely do that. And we will see that Klay Thompson has chosen to be a Los Angeles Laker. I lowballed DeAndre Jordan, and then I had to tell him no anyway. So now Klay Thompson is going to be receiving passes from LeBron James. I'm sure Stephen A. Smith will go nuts over that one. We're not done in free agency, however. We need some role players. The one guy I look at is Thomas Satoransky, a guy who has been great for the Wizards off the bench. Unfortunately for him, Scott Brooks doesn't realize what he has in the guy. Well, I see what he is. I see that he is a 6'7" point guard / 2 guard / small forward who is a damn good passer, improving as a shooter, and is just such a smart team-first kind of a guy. A more athletic, younger Sean Livingston, if you will. We're going to scoop him up. And then Tyson Chandler, because we still need a center, and he's still in the NBA apparently. One of my favorite players ever. Sure, he's no longer 2011 Tyson Chandler leading the Mavericks defensively. However, he's still pretty damn good, and he's better than a lot of other options for the money he costs. So can these two guys, with Klay Thompson, be the difference that allows us to get an NBA championship, perhaps I'll take a second round playoff appearance given that we just got swept by the Nuggets. I don't know, but I like our length, I like our defense. Don't forget that Klay Thompson is one of the better on-ball defenders in the league, and the first month goes a bit better than the previous first month went, as we are, what does that say, 13-2, and currently the best team in the Western Conference, as the Warriors are apparently falling apart at only 10-6. I think us having Klay Thompson is a big reason for that. Our entire team is shooting very well from three. LeBron shooting over 50% because he's a robot, and Satoransky putting up a hot 12-4 off the bench. This is, clearly this is the preferable outcome of the first month, right? I think the big thing here is just, you look at the length of this team, right? Lonzo is, 6'6", 6'7", LeBron is, of course, 6'8", Ingram might be 6'11", Klay Thompson 6'7", Josh Hart is still 6'5", then you got Tyson Chandler patrolling around the rim. There's a lot of length on this team, there's a lot of guys who know how to play defense, but then there's still a decent amount of ball handlers and just guys who know how to play basketball, right? We're kind of like the ultimate 2018 team. outside of the Warriors, who apparently suck now. Thank you, 2K, for never making any sense. Might I remind you, Kyrie Irving signed with the Hawks. Anyway, the wins keep on piling up, and this seems like it's going to be a little easier than I thought it would be. I mean, I know this team has LeBron. Even so, I thought this was going to be like a multi-year sort of thing if I can't spoil the ending for you too much, or I can't spoil the ending of this second season for you. Yeah, no requirements to make any moves. Team pretty much just keeps on keeping on. Oh, and by the way, the Hawks are really good. So not only does 2K put Kyrie on the Hawks, it then makes Atlanta like a finals contender in the Eastern Conference. 2K is really outdoing themselves with 2K19, let me tell you. Anyway, the season's over. We were like 7th in offense. A lot of that due to KLAY Thompson. I mean, 18 points a game doesn't jump out at you, but I think the spacing that he provided just helped everybody out. Number 1 in defense. Given that we're that good defensively, I think that shows that LeBron was actually defending in the regular season, which, I mean, even if we never win a championship, getting LeBron to play defense in the regular season is a huge deal, so let's congratulate ourselves for that one. Anyway, as we look on to the postseason, I'm feeling pretty good because we've got a pretty solid roster top to bottom. And of course, we've got the best player in the NBA, so we're going to have a chance in every playoff series, and really, we should be the favorite, especially because I don't know where the Warriors are at this point. It seems losing KLAY and DEMARCUS was a bit too much for them to recover from, I'm going to guess. LeBron winning the MVP, Zion Williams, I'm not downloading that draft class again, wins Rookie of the Year. We move on to the postseason. We're the 1 seed. The Warriors are all the way at number 4. That's pretty rough for them. We've got the Phoenix Suns in the first round. A young team, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I'm sure it's going to be a good duo for a long time. But with that being said, there's no reason we should lose this series because they're the young dudes who don't know what they're doing and we're trying to win a championship. So I'm not expecting too much resistance from Phoenix, and the series is over in 5 games. So that's pretty fair. And the Golden State Warriors get bounced in round 1, as we now will be facing Russell Westbrook and the OKC Thunder. I'm expecting a bit more of a challenge out of these guys. I do still think we're the better team. However, when you've got a 1-2 punch of Russell Westbrook, who's still one of the best players in the league, and then Paul George, who lingers around somewhere between number 10 and 15, then those guys are going to give you some games. They're going to give you some close matchups. Even so, I think we should win this, especially with home court advantage. First 2 games go to us, 3-0. Well, never mind. That wasn't as much of a challenge as I thought it was going to be. Now we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves in the conference finals. 2K continues to be weird as hell. So it seems that this team not only doesn't hate each other, but is 4 wins away from the NBA Finals. Unfortunately for them, I think this series is going to come down to we have LeBron James and they don't. It's pretty much it. It's about all the analysis that I need to provide on that one. Can they at least get a game on us? We've gone up 3-0 against everybody so far, and the Raptors are our finals matchup. The NBA Finals in Los Angeles. It's a beautiful thing. And this is going to be the Kawhi Leonard, who I'm just going to assume is beloved by Canada at this point, for getting them to 2 straight finals. It's going to be him versus LeBron James. And apparently they are going to attempt to outdo each other with hook shots that are from like 15 feet away from the rim. We're going to simulate by each game this time around for the sake of suspense or something. I don't know. Notice how the Pistons were the 1 seed in the East? God, 2K is weird. Anyway, let me focus more on this. 2-1, so the first time we didn't go to a 3-0 series, but we can still make it 3-1. That is what happens. Are the Lakers going to win the title? And that's exactly what occurs. So, LeBron wins Finals MVP. No real surprises on that one. And there you have it. Only took 2 seasons. I have to say, the Lakers buying out Luol Deng like 4 days before 2K19 came out Made it way easier to rebuild these guys because I didn't have to trade Luau. I didn't have to try to get off his money anyhow. He just wasn't there, and it was a whole bunch more money to play with. So, shout out to Luau Deng, and shout out to I don't know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm sure he would care if the Lakers would win. Now, there's one important thing we have to see before we go. Is the glitch for the ring ceremony still there, where players are shaking hands with the podium? Did 2K fix this? Did they even know that this was a problem in 2K18? Let's see. Nope, the glitch is still there. Keep on keeping on, 2K. Anyway, that'll do it. Thank you for watching, and more rebuilds coming.